arena changes, guys. Have you heard of them? Have you seen anything about them? Because the thing is, in our next update, we'll be making a few changes to the arena that will make it more interesting for our players and offer a much different experience with each set release. So, first change, and actually the most impacting change. Let's scroll in. Arena will change wild format to standard, which means that from like next expansion on, so when actually the Year of the Mammoth is there, we'll only have Karazhan, Old Gods, MSG, Classic, and Basic, plus obviously the new expansion in Arena. So forget about Max Energy in Arena, forget about some other things. So actually GVG is out, Naxxramas is out, LOE will be out, TGT will be out, Black Mountain will be out. So all those cards you won't see anymore in Arena. It's going to be standard Arena. First, that's sad. So if you actually look at it, it's like, oh fuck no. This stinks. Because if you want to play Constructed, you want to play Constructed. If you want to play Arena, you want to play Arena and get all the cards. But it will be a huge difference because the smaller the card pool is, the more you can actually go for certain synergies. So the thing right now is, due to having all the cards, and in the future, having more cards too, you want to have the link? Wait, oops, that was Twitch. So, due to having all the cards, and in the future, like the card pool will grow. So we get 390 new cards this game. So Arena would have plus 390 new cards, plus all the cards existing. So actually getting combos like a Gorilla Bot off will be getting harder and harder and harder and harder. The further we go away from like the expansions they were meant to be in. So their explanation is, as more cards are added to the Arena pool, having each game feel meaningful different actually becomes harder to accomplish. Many of the cool synergies between cards, such as Jade Golem or Max, live within each individual set release, which is true, right? The Max were GVG, and the Jades are currently like Old Gods, MSG stuff, things like that. Oh, actually MSG stuff, not Old Gods, sorry. Attempting to create decks that utilize these meaningful synergies in Wild is diluted... Meaningful synergies in a wide and diluted card pool will become more and more difficult as the wild card pool grows larger. That's what I was talking about. So their argumentation is, the bigger the card pool grows, the harder it will get to actually build a Jade arena, to build a mech arena. So imagine this now. When we face actually wild format to standard, then you can easier build a Jade arena if you would actually want to. I know a lot of people are like, okay, fuck that. If I want to play against Jade, I'll play Constructed. But also, it's funnier with a smaller card pool if you're actually able to create a real Jade deck. So that's going to be a cool thing. So arena runs then become less about card synergies, lucky draws, and smart deck choices, and more about being fortunate enough to present with the best cards from each set. If it would stay as the Wild it is. Like this, you know, with a smaller card pool, you actually have to go for smarter choices. So that's going to be a nice thing to go for. I would say. But they also said it's a gigantic test, guys. Okay? It's a gigantic test from them. This is a huge risk to take. They're going to swap Arena to Standard, but see it as something that might get rolled back or that might get altered again. So this is only step one, Wild to Standard. But if it completely fails, if everyone hates it, don't expect it to entirely go back Wild to Standard, but maybe that they put like more things in again. So they're saying themselves that it might not work, or it might not do what they want to do. So we'll see. But here comes something more interesting. So this is the huge change a lot of people will be upset about, but also something that could be good. But here it comes. This is the more interesting change. Changes to card rarity distribution. So, we're making a change to the frequency in which common and basic cards show up in Arena. Common cards were about 78% of all Arena cards, and we felt that the number was too high considering that many of the cards that focus around individual class identity and power level rely on the common cards of any given class. Which means that cards like, here it comes, we're talking about common and classic, right? So let's go for common. And you're going to see for Warlock that the Warlock common cards are extremely good. You had like Mortal Crab, Overwhelming, you had Flame Imp, and Dark Peddler is also a common card. You have in Gang Boss as a common card, Darkseid Councilman, Crystal Weaver. So they're all commons. And especially Abyssal Enforcer is a common card. As for Mage, that you actually have the Flame Strike, like, you know, Frostbolt, you know, Torch, you know, Fireball, and all those stuff. That's actually common cards. And Flame Strike is coming to a basic 2, Violence Portal is coming. So they're saying that some classes obviously have better common and basic cards. And they want to change that. They want to change the percentage of how common and basic cards drop. So they actually higher the overall amount of rares, epic, and legendary cards you can get. So the chance to kind of for them to pop up is higher now. That actually you create a more funny synergy. So, and also in addition, the cards Abyssal Enforcer and Flamestrike will show up approximately 50% less in Arena. Yay! I mean, we still have Firelands Portal, but that's definitely something doing there, right? So therefore, like, this change is nice. We'll see how it turns out. The update is not live yet. They said in our next update, whatever that means, they'll do it. I hope they do it end of the month. I hope they do it like, yeah, I really hope they do it end of the month because I really want to have this. You know, I really want to have this. I don't want to wait. Then also another change is more spells in a run, guys. Spells have the power to swing a board state, generally more than minions do, obviously. There are some exceptions to this. When this distribution of spells to minions is too low, the game usually ends up in the favor of the player that gets out their minions faster. Which means, like, you know, first player winning over second player because they go like 1 drop, 2 drop, 3 drop, 4 drop, 5 drop, 6 drop. If you don't get your spells to kind of counter this. By the way, I'm going for the subs in a bit, guys. Let me just finish our talk here, okay? Faster, more efficient than the other player because there aren't enough cards that punish overextending. Bringing the distributions of spells and minions closer together allows for more room to have an arena game that is more strategic and facilitates more plays and counterplays to occur. I do second that, guys. I think having more spells in arena makes the whole thing more fun. So if it's not that minion focus, I mean, they're just generally speaking, there's so many cool spells. I mean, for a mage, that's kind of broken. But even for a paladin, I would go for a spell paladin, Chad. I would totally go for that. I mean, if you have a higher chance to get the fancy stuff, if you have a higher chance to really build like a freaking, like, actually, if it says more spells, let's go for Jade Druid, right? You could go insane for Jade Druid. You get like, with a higher spell chance, you get like 5 Jade Blossoms, and then you like 7 Jade Blossoms and Jade Idols and stuff like that. Why not? Let's go for it, boys. So this could be an interesting change to shape it up a bit. I mean, usually you have like 25 minions. Let's say often it's like 25 minions, 5 spells. If I would have 10 spells or 15 spells and 15 minions, this could actually be getting fairly interesting, or it could loosen things up a bit. Yes, for example. And then last but not least, neutral classic cards show up less. A lot of neutral classic cards tend to be minions without any text that lack interesting effects, like Boulderfist Ogre. While they're great for introducing newer players to Hearthstone and providing baselines for power level comparison, they don't make for compelling arena run choices. This helps more room for spells, class cards, and expansion cards to show up at a higher rate. Which means we take classic, guys, obviously, and neutral classic cards show up less. I mean, how often do we know we get something like a Angry Chicken, Wisp? You get like, I don't know, Shield Bearer, Ancient Watcher, happens. You actually get like the stupid stuff, like especially when you go for classic commons, you know? You get the Boulderfist Ogre often, and you're just like, oh fuck me, I don't want to have that. Wind Fury Harpy, Priestess of Elune. So all those cards that are really often like just completely stupid, and especially the ones that don't have an effect, you know, like Magma Raja, right? I like it. If they put like neutral classic cards show up less, why not? Just put in more spells, put in more expansion cards, and more class cards. I like it. Arena's going to feel like a different constructed. No, Arena's never going to feel like a different constructed But on the other hand, Arena was never something else than a different constructed. Okay? Arena is drafting from a card pool. If they limit the card pool, that's fine to me. If I get more spells, that's fine to me. If I have a lower chance to get Flamestrike EDC, but therefore get more rares and epics, that's okay too. Bog Creeper Rib. Bog Creeper is not a neutral classic card, guys. Neutral classic cards from the classic set. So as I enter classic here, Bog Creeper is not a classic card. Bog Creeper is MSG neutral. No, Old Gods neutral. Therefore, no, those cards appear. And then the best and final change. Golden cards show up in Arena. If you own golden cards in your collection, copies of that card that appear in your Arena run will show up as golden. Yeah. Nice. So, these changes will occur in an upcoming update near the end of February. Near the end of February, guys. This is gonna be beautiful. This is gonna be beautiful. I like it. We don't like the update. We have to play it. You know, it's easy to read this and be like, oh, I don't like this. But ultimately, you have to play it, guys. Oh, I can tell you if I like this update after a week of testing it. Right now, it feels okay. I think it's fine. And then could go good. But we have to play test it. I mean, I generally don't see change as something bad. So it's easy to condemn this as a stupid change to hate on it. But I'm going to be positive about it. And I'm going to see how it changes the experience to a good or to a bad thing. Because, let's be fair, currently, it's either you have a really insane draft or you have a shit draft. There's not much in between. It's really insane or shit in Arena. So the bigger question is, how do we find the middle way now? Okay, Chad? How do we find the middle way between complete shit and okay, and like OP? So this might make the skill gap higher again, you know, for actually drafting something good. Because right now it's like, oops, I ended up here. This way right now, it is, yeah, I mean, yeah, I think it might make it less random and more consistent. For like good people, you know, good people in Arena might just have even better results, and bad people in Arena might have it easier because they like, for people that are bad in Arena, it might be easier because the card pool to choose from is lower, so that they don't have to know how good like every card is. They only have to know how good like current cards are in comparison with other cards, and like synergies might get more important. So we'll see.